What's going on, everybody? Carl from The Obsession. Got Matt Davis with me. He's the camera guy today. We'll talk to Matt here in a little bit about what he's going to be doing on his property. But Matt and I are out here at my place, and you can see all these little yellow flags. Yellow represents corn. So Matt's panning around kind of showing you what we're doing, but basically this spot in here, we're going to actually take this spot and I'm going to V it down and utilize this pine tree that's behind me down here, and it'll give us anything inside the middle of the V is going to be brassica, anything on the outside of the V is going to be corn for cover. So it's going to give the deer basically a corner to come. So back behind us right now is the hillside. It's probably about 80 yards up from there. We got another cornfield we're going to mark off here, and then we're also putting switchgrass in this year, which I've already done. I frost seeded it on Friday night before that snowstorm came through, and that's going to give us another couple more levels. And we're going to have another basically 3/4 of a mile of edging for deer to work east-west on the property here at the Triple B this year. Matt's doing the same thing at his place. He'll talk about that shortly. And then we'll show you guys throughout the year what we're doing on all of our properties. For sure, you're going to have myself here at the Triple B, Big Mike at BMR, and then Matt will have to come up with a designation for Matt's property. And then Sean Devitt, and we'll be showing you guys all the property stuff we're going to be doing here throughout the year. So hopefully big plans again, right Matt, this year? Shoot some big deer, hopefully?
Hopefully. We had our chance last year.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Whole new change up here, whole new change up on the BMR, and a really big change up I think on Matt's property. You guys are going to see that, how he laid that out. So stick around, we're going to do some more stuff. Pink represents switchgrass, yellow represents corn. And I'll show you guys also on the aerials of what we're doing here also. That'll help kind of let you see the big picture of what's going on. All right, guys. Well, Matt and I came up to the next level. You guys can see the tree line right behind me. You see all these pink flags. So Friday I came in here, I simozined all this. You can kind of see where the ATV was. And then I actually frost seeded all my switchgrass in here. So this is actually going to be it's about 150 yards long. Well, it's 143 yards long. And it's the switchgrass line that we put in front of the tree line here. The does like to bed right on this tree line. So basically what we're doing is allowing us to get in behind them if we have to. There's a food plot right over here, apple orchard. There's going to be a stand here and another cornfield just below this. So that'll cover our entrance coming in and out, and it actually allows them to have more east-west movement also. So we're creating structure here also with that. But basically it's to guard our movements. So that's why we put this in. Switchgrass here, switchgrass, and then level, just off of level 2. Switchgrass level 3, the new level 3 above the cornfield. We'll see how it goes. We're using Jeff Sturgis's idea basically. Well, it's Jeff's idea all the way around, is put down simazine in your seed, frost seeded in. You can see I did not mow any of this. I will come in probably mid-April, probably the second week of April, check to see if the switchgrass is germinated yet, which I'm pretty sure it's not because Matt and I are still finding frost in the ground, right Matt?
Yes.
So, which is good for us, and we will let some of the green come up a little bit. You'll be able to see some of the grass is going to start, maybe some of the goldenrod a little bit, it'll be low. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to spray with glyphosate. That's going to kill anything that's emerging at that time, and then we're going to leave this until probably June, and then I'll mow it. Hence why we've got all these flags in here. So this tells me where I've planted my switchgrass, so I'll be able to come in and mow that down. Switchgrass gets exponential growth starting in July. So your switchgrass may only be 2 or 3 inches tall. In July, you come through, you mow everything off above that switchgrass, and it grows exponentially. It'll actually choke out any of the other stuff that's below that. So that's how aggressive switchgrass grows from basically July through September and October. So that's our plan. Hopefully it works out, and then if not, we'll come in the next spring again and we'll mow this when we have to. We'll spray it with simazine when it's down, when it's not growing at all, and that'll help control the weeds, anything that might come up before it, and we'll keep it mowed and we'll work our switchgrass that way. But I'm pretty sure that this is going to be very successful, and it's going to cover most of our movement, anything below here. From the deer being able to see it. They're not as tall as down a little bit lower, so that helps us all the way around. Year 2, I'm hoping this will be 6 feet tall. Hopefully this year we get between 3 and 4 foot of growth. And everything else you guys see in here is going to stay. So all the goldenrod and everything that we have grow up in here. The deer love that also. And the does will fawn up in here. And that's a good thing. We don't want too many does on our property either. So we'll put more fall food in. You guys hear us talk about that. We'll touch on that throughout the year. Thanks for watching The Obsession. We got a few more things we're going to mark out, Matt and I, and then we're going to head into the woods and start deciding a couple of the trees that we're going to be hinge cutting to enhance our bedding areas. We'll show you guys some of that also. And then we're going to talk with Matt before we leave here today about plans on his property, and we'll be filming all of that stuff with what he's got going on. All right, guys. So Matt and I came to the farthest west side here on level, what we're going to call 4 now. And you guys can see all the little pink flags we put in here. Now on this plot, pink does not represent switchgrass. This is actually going to be a brassica plot. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to let this probably come up a little bit here over the next month and a half. I'm going to spray it with glyphosate. I'm going to disc it, and then I'm going to spray it again. Not all together. So I'll disc it, and the following month I'll spray it again. At that point, it'll be good enough for us to broadcast our buckwheat on it. We'll put buckwheat in here, and we'll spray again with glyphosate at that point again. Because it won't hurt in June, we'll spray it again with glyphosate after we've disked it one time. Anything that comes up, we'll spray that again. And then we'll come in here in July, we'll put our buckwheat down and spray again. And at that point, the buckwheat will come up hopefully by August, beginning of August, first couple weeks of August here in southern Wisconsin. It'll be 2, maybe 3 feet high. Last year we had exponential growth, so parts of it was 4 feet high. But we'll come in and we'll broadcast our tillage radish and purple top turnip, which is what I'm going to run in this spot. And at that point, we'll bend the buckwheat over, not crimping it. Basically, I use my Packer Max, run it right down, break it over, and then we'll spray it again with glyphosate, and we'll have a perfect brassica plot here at the end of the year for hunting season. So we're going to run a camera in this pine right over here. We're also going to run a tree stand in the pine. I'd say you'll be able to have about a 30-yard shot to both sides of the food plot, which will be good. Also up above us here, you guys seen where it goes to the tree line on that pan shot. Right there is one of the bigger, better bedding areas on the property. The does start really close here, so basically the does are going to be bedding within probably 50 yards of the plot. But it's so thick that they won't hear us or see us come in because we're coming back from the downhill side, back behind, up into the stand. So that'll cover us there, and then of course we'll expect the bucks to come in and out of here checking the does. We'll probably get some pretty good bucks in here on camera, so we're looking forward to that too. So stick around for that. That's how this plot's working out. That's how we plan on doing that. Now Matt and I are gonna start tagging off some trees that we're gonna hinge cut. Some we're gonna cut completely down. That's a different color. And then I got one more color, white. You know what white's for, Matt? That's where we're putting new tree stands. So that's what we're gonna do. Stick around for that. All right, guys. Well, this is actually just below one of my favorite mock scrapes. One of the first ones I put in on the property. Actually, the first mock scrape I put in on the property. And it's real productive. We got a ladder stand here off to my left, which is about 15 yards away. And it's kind of right off one of the old logging roads. And it's productive, but the problem is, in the mornings when the deer are coming up, they either like to come right up that logging road, and they're like right below you, which to me is too dang close, or they cut this bottom down below me here another 15, 18 yards, intermediate trail that cuts over to this bedding area off to my west. But this will allow me to stay off of that road, take any deer that's running up that logging road, any deer that's coming across the logging road behind Matt, the cameraman, where my favorite mock scrape is, and shoot down here below. It kind of centers it in here. So I'm going to put the white tape on this. We're going to end up moving that ladder stand. I'll actually probably bring a more comfortable ladder stand in here. We're going to actually move that one down to one of the smaller pine trees when we can hunt lower. And this will probably be a really good, this is the stands you'll start to see us hunt like October 20th and later. I don't come up in here until after that time period. There's really not a lot of sense in it. If I could pattern a deer on the scrape, I probably would, but it's a high risk, seeing you're only about 45-50 yards from a bedding area. So to me, that's a losing deal. So we're gonna mark this tree. We'll do a pan shot here quick, show you guys what we got going on, and we'll move one of our good kill stands in here and hopefully shoot a buck out of here. Alright guys, well, we were walking along this knoll, this edge up here. This is actually another one of my mock scrapes. It's about 18 yards away from where we're standing right here. And we were walking around the real heavy trail that the deer use halfway up the ridge, imagine that. And it's between bed. I know they bed off this little point here, and they bed probably 40-50 yards straight to the east from us. Matt points down, he says, hey, I put a stand right in this tree, and he said that way you can reach the trails going out into the food plots, and you can reach the intermediate trails coming through there, and be a great morning stand for the rut. And we came down here, we talked about it, and I think he's right. So we're actually going to move the ladder stand that we had over here. Big Mike hunted out of here last year a couple times. I hunted out of here a few times. We've seen deer. None of the bucks we wanted to shoot, but I've got pictures of every single one of my shooters on this mock scrape throughout the year. So it's a good spot, great spot probably after, again, late October or mid-October. So October 20th through probably the second week in November. So we're gonna mark this tree, we're gonna move this ladder here. Like I said, it's just a little bit of a move. It's probably about 30 yards from where the stand was located before. I think that stands fair, but we're gonna move it up here. I believe it'll be better. You could still reach out down to that position where the deer are crossing down below us. That's one of the best outputs into the food plot area. So we'll see what happens. Stick around. All right, guys. Well, this is what I was really looking for. Okay, so we got you can see it's rubbed up more on this side, but an old rub here, and then you can see they are rubbed on there. But most importantly, this is beds. There's beds all over in here. And this actually helps me understand a few more things about my property. So we are halfway up. You say halfway or 3/4, Matt?
I'd say a little over half.
A little over halfway up this ridge, and there's a little bit of flat space here. You can see that there's a lot of vines, a lot of honeysuckle, buckthorn, and stuff around here, but this is like a little bit of an open spot, and they bed down in here. See beds further to my west here too. Trails coming in from all directions. So this tells me this is one of their main bedding areas, which I kind of figured was in here. I actually figured it was a little bit further than it is from the tree stand that I was hunting. But this helps me understand certain parts of what I was seeing this year. So the way I'm looking at this now is the location where we were just at, where we showed you that move for that tree stand. That's going to do nothing but help secure these deer in this position, which is what I want. Also, there's the top of the ridge, which is 80 to 100 yards up the hill from me right here, and it's steep. You're looking at probably a 40-degree angle. You probably got another, I want to say 100 foot of transition right here before it reaches the top. So we're going to help promote this. We're not going to cut anything here. I'm not going to cut down. I'm not going to hinge cut anything. But what I am going to do is probably hinge cut on the edges, depending on what we see on both sides. Coming in, I like what I was seeing in there. It's really thick with buckthorn and everything. 3-4 main trails coming into this direct bedding area. It's looking the same as we're heading out to the east and staying in this bowl, which is what we've always figured. We're going to do nothing but promote that. I may hinge cut a couple trees. We're going to find some things in here that I probably want to hinge cut. But I think it was, from what I can read, 7 years before I bought the property, they came in here and they logged this. So this was all oaks, maples in here. And you can see the down trees and treetops that they left. Well, now you've got all this really thick undergrowth. So that helps us hold deer here. And we're only about 100 yards, 150 yards from where our food plots start. So that is a positive, but it also gives me another 150 to 200 yards back up the ridge. So that lets me think that the bucks are bedding up the ridge. So we're going to consider this a doe bedding area, and the bucks up above that. And you can tell the reason I'm saying that is we got a lot of really small pellets in here. Nothing really big that would make me think that a larger deer was in here. Now, pellets don't necessarily mean the size of the deer, but from what I found is over 30 years of hunting, that small pellets mean small deer. So this is a good thing. So we're gonna keep heading east. We're definitely not putting a stand in on this. We might put a stand at the top of the ridge, though.
Feel the west wind. You can feel it coming right at my back.
Yeah. Well, it's going to swirl in here a little bit because we're in that valley, but yeah, with a west wind, if you're anything to the west and on this ridge, you're going to do nothing but educate this particular spot. So it's something to remember if for some reason you're going to come up here and hunt mornings early or anything. Early morning hunts, thermals rise, so you should be fair. But in the evenings, you can't hunt this edge because you're just going to educate the deer a bit in this bedding area. You'll never see anything come out, at least to the west if you're hunting from there. So something to keep in mind as we move forward.
All right.
Right on. So this is the last camera on the property that I am currently running. Matt and I came around the top side of the east side of the property. And we are pulling all of these. See what we got for pictures. Went up above, wasn't very productive. Only had 215 pictures over 4 months. So we'll see what happens. We got about a quarter-mile walk back to the trucks yet, but decided I don't think I'm gonna hinge cut anything. Matt and I talked about it. It's thick. There's only a couple spots I was looking at doing it, and as you get in there and once you get looking around, it seems pretty decent. So we're gonna leave all that for this year. Bedding areas are right where we figure they are. That one I got to go in there and see. It's the first time I've seen that particular spot. We were up above that last year when Kathy and I were in here. So that was nice. I think we had really good buck numbers from the rubs and stuff that we could find. Substantial about a number of rubs. Also last year you'll see that there was a bunch of broken up bucks. Means the competition is good on the property, so I'm happy with what I think the buck to doe ratio is. We'll decide throughout this year whether or not we're going to take does out on the property. We'll assess those numbers as the fawns are dropped and what we see for nubbins and doe fawns on the property for pictures. We'll talk more about that throughout the year. But like I said, me and Matt are done here on the Triple B. We got all our food plots and all our switchgrass marked out so we know where to mow, where we're going to disc, where we're going to seed, how that's going to go. That layout is nice. I'm excited about that. Matt and I will check the bottom here as we walk back up, see if we can find any sheds in there, but I walked that pretty good once already. We did not find any more sheds today. I don't think we were really looking that hard, honestly, no. But we didn't find any obvious sheds. How's that sound? And the bedding areas didn't have any sheds in them that we walked through, so that does tell me that the bucks probably in the wintertime are not bedding on my property, which seems fair because most of them were gone by January anyway, and the pictures I got seemed like it was late February when they were dropping. So not disappointed in that. We'll see how it goes this year. We'll talk to Matt before we leave, and he can tell you guys about what he's expecting on his property and what he's going to be doing, and we'll discuss a little bit of his plans. So, all right, what's going on, everybody? Karl and Matt. Camera guy for the day. Appreciate him coming out. We had good discussions up there, deciding what we thought we were going to do and what we thought would work. So we're down on the Triple B, and we've got everything laid out the way we want it to be. You guys seen all the tape and stuff we laid out, all the flags we put out. So that'll give us transition.
Yeah, and you got some nice food plots this year which would be really good for
no more what there is for food plots around here.
That's true. Well, the other part of that too is we'll see if we can find some sheds next year.
Yeah, that's the big. That's more fun than sometimes shed hunting than it is bow hunting. You see what's got through, or the ones that you miss, and you can find at least one side of him. You get
let you know that you did miss.
Let you know you did miss. So,
but so what do you plan on doing on your property?
This year it's going to be a little different. We logged last year, so that made a big difference. So, trying to figure out where to put tree stands and stuff. We kind of got it down, but I'm going to go back to planting brassicas. I'm going to plant a little more soybeans. Where I'm going to plant my brassicas, I'm going to plant soybeans in there first. That way the deer got something to eat on. I can spray it, keep the weeds down, then go back in the end of July, first part of August, work it up, put my fertilizer down, and put my brassicas in there.
Yep.
A couple other spots I'm going to plant sorghum at and kind of make a shelter belt around the food plots. I got a couple that are going to be wide open, so it makes them feel more secluded so the deer can't see in there. So I'm going to do there.
So he's going to do it a little different than me. I'm going to do the buckwheat and then put the brassicas in. He might do that one or two spots, and he's going to put the beans in, then disc them in. So you disc them right in, and then you're going to put the brassicas in.
It's like a nerve neck. I mean, I might put a little oats with them, so oats will give it poor man's fertilizer, they call it.
It works.
It works. So
adds nitrogen to the soil.
Add nitrogen to the soil, which the brassicas need. So, but with the soybeans, I want to plant enough so that way my main plots, the deer don't hammer them. The small plots, I don't care if they go in there and chew them off. I mean, it's good for the deer. It's got high protein and helps the mothers out. Good for growing bucks, racks, stuff like that. Yeah. So
that's the plan.
That's the plan. Couple water systems this year we're going to try.
That'll be
because that's the only thing we're lacking last year is that once they get dry in October and November there, I mean, the deer were there, but you come home at night or leave in the morning, I was always seeing the deer down next to the stream, so that's a big thing I'm losing right there is that the deer are traveling farther to go water, so they're not staying closer to my place. So,
well, part of that was we had a big drought too last year.
That did help, but I usually try to plant 4 acres of corn, 4 acres of soybeans. I like my late season.
Yeah.
This year I had 45 does out there, 2 bucks, so I can still see I got to shoot more does yet. So
one or two.
Well,
when you got all the food in the area, though,
I'm drawing a lot of deer from long ways, but I also draw in bucks I'd never seen before too from a long ways. So so that helps. So I did buy a couple blinds this year, self-enclosed. So the blinds I got now, they got loud zippers on them, so it's hard to get in and out. So we're trying a different style of blind this year, so kind of control our scent a little bit more and a little bit quieter getting in and out. So
one thing you and I did talk about too is you said you're going to change up kind of the way you hunted.
Yeah.
Compared to last year.
Yeah. This year we're not. I get gung ho. I want to be out there right away when season starts, which we all do.
Right.
But we're going to cut back to more cold fronts. We've been looking back through our cameras and stuff, and a lot of our bucks don't show up till about the first week of October. So it's about the youth hunt time is when they're starting to move in. So I'm like, well, we're educating the deer, so that's our downfall. We're educating the does, so the does know. Then the bucks learn from them not to come out. So this year we're going to back off and wait for the cold fronts.
Yeah, hunt fronts. So you're going to hunt a little more like Big Mike and I hunt.
Yeah, hunt a little bit more,
Yeah. But you guys got some really good deer out there.
And we got
hunting smarter will definitely help. Hopefully you'll get your opportunities. Not that you didn't have opportunities.
No, I had my opportunity of what we call splits. He's been there for 4 years, and I just looked out the window and he was right there, and I got excited and tried shooting too fast, and I missed him. So, but we had him till end of December, which is good. We knew we made it through muzzleloader season, and nobody bow hunted hardly around me afterwards. So.
And that's good.
Which is a good sign, but...
Well, that's about it. Thanks for watching The Obsession. We'll get with you guys here in a week. Be sure to make sure you check out the podcasts on the YouTube channel at Rush Outdoors WI. Rush Outdoors Wisconsin is what it stands for. But you punch in Rush Outdoors WI on the YouTube search, and you can see all the podcasts we filmed, and all the future podcasts, and all of our web shows, and there's I don't know, 370, 380 videos up right now. From hunts and kills and some misses and everything you need to know, I guess.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys watching. Also, if you want to just listen to the podcast, you guys can listen to the podcast. Just go to RSS Podcasts, punch in The Obsession Podcast, and that'll take you right to it. Or you can go to our Facebook page and link in off of any of that. It'll take you right directly to our podcast show. Also on Spotify coming up here shortly. You guys will be able to listen to all the podcasts on Spotify. So we appreciate you guys' support over the last 20 plus years. We'll talk to you guys next week.